This afternoon, a memorial service will be held for the victims of the crash in Pinetown. 22 people died when a truck ploughed through a red robot last week. So just what checks are done to ensure the safety of other road users? Kriek is General Manager for Automotive and Mechanical at the South African Bureau of Standards. Gerrie, thank you very much for coming in this afternoon. Now, we understand in this particular accident it appears that the truck's brakes may have failed and also that its license expired on the 31st of August. Just how strictly, in your opinion, are the conditions of these trucks being regulated?
Yes, the trucks are regulated on a continuous basis through the roadworthy centres. The SABS is also mandated as the oversight body to oversee these roadworthy centres. So on a continuous basis, every year, these trucks have to go through roadworthy centres, and that will then declare them roadworthy to be operated on the roads.
So just to be clear on this, when a truck is brought in brand new, it goes through the SABS process. After that, when they're looking for further license renewals, does your department oversee those particularly?
No, only in the initial stage as new vehicles. It will come through the homologation process, which we will basically check the vehicle from rear to back. And then afterwards, as soon as that vehicle is then legally on the road, it will come only through the vehicle test stations for annual evaluations.
What is your opinion of the evaluations at these testing stations?
Well, in the country there's about 550 vehicle stations covering the whole country, which are differently graded as well, A grades and B grades for trucks and for normal passenger vehicles. They have procedures well covered by the Road Traffic Act, which they have to comply. The Bureau oversees that. The Bureau reports to the Department of Transport. And yet we still get trucks that is not roadworthy on our roads. But I think that something else speaks to that. And that is in the sense that operating costs of these vehicles has become very expensive. And people do take chances to get an extra mile out of a set of brake blocks or steering column, and that is what we find then on the day of an accident and so on. But at the time of going through a test center, it complies, and there's documented evidence to prove that that was then demonstrated.
Are you worried that there's a discrepancy certainly here? If all these trucks are going through the process and coming out with licenses at the end of it, and we're still seeing accidents related to mechanical failure, and daily on our roads driving around we see a number of trucks broken down all the time. Do you get the sense that there's perhaps corruption at the testing stations, or there are external factors that are impinging on road safety standards here?
Look, to be honest, there will always be a chance or opportunity for corruption. Where we witness something like that, we will report it to the government or the necessary department. On the other side is that also what can also happen is that inferior products may be used in the maintenance of these trucks or vehicles, any vehicle on the road. And that's where the consumer has the right then, when he go and purchase or buy components as replacement parts, that he have to ensure that he buy products that has been SABS approved to go back into the vehicle to make him roadworthy.
There's very little point in going through this whole SABS process when the system is so open to individual parts, spare parts, being allowed into the country when they don't meet SABS standards, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, something to remember there. The automotive industry is the second most regulated industry in this country. It is governed from the Road Traffic Act right through to standards to comply with, and they are all complied compulsory by law. So second to the electrical industry, the automotive industry is covered by law from the beginning to the end. I think it comes back to, while the law is intact, is the enforcement of the law, is to do that properly and to provide sufficient people and competent people in providing that service.
Kriek, thanks very much for talking to us this morning.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
News that moves. eNCA.com.